Hi, I'm Chris James, and you're watching A Healthy Alternative. Today we're going to be discussing, is it normal to gain weight after a water fast? All right, guys, this is another question that I've been getting a lot recently, and it kind of coincides with some of the other videos I've been doing. So I wanted to go ahead and kind of cluster all these together, and hopefully we'll get a good overall picture of what's going on with our bodies. How much weight am I going to gain when I start eating, right? After I come off a long-term water fast, how much am I going to gain? Is it normal to gain weight? Is it possible to start refeeding or start eating without gaining weight? And we're going to look at a few of these things today. Okay, so number one, when you come off of a long-term water fast, obviously one thing that we've realized is we haven't been putting food in our bodies, okay? Food is weighted. You could eat a pound of food very easily. So realistically speaking, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to actually start putting food back into your body without gaining weight. Right? But there are some ways for us to kind of circumvent this. And also I want you guys to understand exactly what's happening when you're putting food in your body, what the type of weight you're gaining. Okay. So if you eat something that weighs 1 pound, okay, you've just gained 1 pound, right? But your mouth and your anus are connected. It's like a tube. That's all it is. Okay. There's a mouth at one end of the tube and there's a anus at the other end of the tube. And when you eat that pound of food, your body starts metabolizing it, it starts processing it, starts digesting it, and then eventually your liver sends it to the intestines. Your intestines go ahead and push it out to the colon and you poop it out, right? So how much of that weight that you put in is coming out? Well, in a perfect world, 100% of the weight that you put in would then come back out of your body. Realistically speaking, anywhere from, 95% or, 98% of it should be coming out in a healthy body. Now, if you're unhealthy, which a lot of us are, or if you're eating foods that get stuck inside you, that start to rot, that start to, cause all these problems, you may be seeing little to none of that food coming out. One of the things that was really shocking for me when I came off of my first really long water fast, I decided that I was going to eat 100% alkaline for a few months because I wanted to test it out. I really wanted to dig in and see what was going to happen and notice changes in my body. One of the things I realized was if I ate one avocado, because for a long time I was actually just eating, very small portions throughout the day. I might eat, a couple pieces of fruit or whatever. So I remember I ate one avocado and then about 2 hours later I had a bowel movement. Now, that's important to note because you're supposed to have a bowel movement roughly 2 hours after you start eating, which none of us really see. So that lets you know how bad our digestion is, but that's another video. All right. So about 2 hours later, I'd have a bowel movement and I was blown away at how much fecal matter it was. I mean, I know this is TMI, but the reality is literally all of that avocado was coming out. But in my mind, I'm used to seeing this really condensed version of my fecal matter. And also I'm used to eating multiple things throughout the day. So when I have a bowel movement, it's really hard to track how much of what I'm eating is actually coming out. And this is very important because you can gain weight like this, okay? You can have pounds of fecal matter in your intestines just sitting there, bogging you down, weighing you down. And then of course you start freaking out. You're like, man, I just did all this fasting, lost all this weight, and I gained 5 pounds of fat back in 5 days. Well, no, not necessarily. Okay. It could just be that your digestion is backed up, based on what types of foods you're eating after your fast. And so you just need a good flush. So one of the key ways to avoid gaining weight when coming off your fast is to eat the proper foods. Like I said, I did an alkaline diet for months. I mean, it was probably 3 or 4 months where I was doing a very strict, almost 100% alkaline diet. And I didn't see any weight come back on ever. As a matter of fact, I continued losing weight. All right. So here's the thing you guys want to keep in mind. If you're eating properly and you're not stuffing your face 6 times a day like they tell you to do when you want to lose weight, you will continue burning fat. One of the great ways or tools that you can use to kind of make sure you keep the weight off and you keep progressing is intermittent fasting. Okay? If you couple alkaline foods with intermittent fasting, when you come off of your fast, chances are you're not going to gain any weight back. As a matter of fact, you're probably going to slowly still see weight coming off. I'm not going to say it's going to be anything as impressive as a pound a day or 2 pounds a day, but you may see half a pound come off every day, right? Or even by the end of the week, you give yourself a nice flush, and you might see that you've lost 3 pounds for that week. You know, it's really going to vary, and you know, it's really hard to give you guys solid numbers, but if you're doing the right things, this is what you're going to be seeing. One of the other things I did when I came off my fast to continue to lose weight so that I wasn't going to see my weight fluctuating was I would eat dried apricots. Dried apricots, for whatever reason, they're a natural laxative and they flush you out. So if you are eating improper foods and you feel like you're backed up, grab yourself some dried apricots and they'll kind of get your system flowing again. And I like the apricots a little bit better than using like Epsom salt and stuff like that because it's not something that you're going to want to be using like on a daily basis. It's just not very good for you. And then some of the other laxatives, obviously they're chemical laxatives, so you don't want to necessarily utilize those a lot. But if you're backed up, try the dried apricots. And I probably would have to eat about 6 of them or whatever to get that good flush. But stay close to a toilet when you do it because it's coming. Let's look at this from a different angle. Let's say that you're eating the alkaline foods, you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing. Maybe you eat a little bit more, right? You're eating frequently, you're eating 3+ times a day. Are you going to see weight gain? Yeah, there's a good possibility you may see some weight gain. Maybe. But the other thing that you guys have to realize is when you come off of your long-term fast, your body had actually started shutting down a lot of processes, okay? There's a lot of processes that your body initiates when it's digesting food. This includes the production of bile, stomach acid, and other fluids. These fluids are heavy. One of the things that I noticed when I was doing my gallbladder flush is that I would lose almost 3 or 4 pounds every time I did the flush, and I think that's just from fluids coming out. Right? That my body had manufactured. So your body has the ability to manufacture all of its fluids and things internally. So when you're not eating, your body starts shutting down these systems. It's not manufacturing as much bile because it doesn't need it. The stomach acid production goes away because it doesn't need it. When you start eating, guess what? The body kicks back on. Boom, it starts manufacturing these liquids. They're heavy. So you may see some weight gain due to that. And that's really where your 5 pounds, which is what people typically will see, you'll usually gain that 5 pounds back and it'll be like in 5 days. And it's like, wow, how did I gain this much weight back? It's not real weight. It's just the production of liquids and fluids in your body that your body is utilizing for digestion. So don't freak out about stuff like that. Now, I'm going to briefly mention this. I've mentioned it in many other videos, and maybe I'll do a little shorty video where I talk a lot more about this. But there's a difference between your fat, right? You have a white adipose tissue, which is the cellulite. It's the bad crap. Then you have the brown adipose tissue, which is the healthy stuff, you know, the fat that women tend to hold on to for their breasts and other parts of their body. That's like good stuff, okay? And we're confusing them. We think they're all the same and they're not. So there's a healthy fat and there's an unhealthy fat. When you're gaining weight back and you're eating the right things, one of the things I noticed was that the weight I lost wasn't the weight I gained. So what that meant was I was losing white adipose tissue. It's very soft, it's very mushy, it's very expansive or expanded. And then I was gaining back the brown adipose tissue, which was not as mushy. It wasn't as, big. So it wasn't changing the shape of my body in a negative way. As a matter of fact, I liked the way I looked as I started gaining some of this weight back. So for some of you guys who are a little bit smaller, some of you girls who are a little bit on the slim side, this is what you're looking to gain back when you start eating. And it's important that you're eating the proper things. Throw some exercise in there and that will help you gain back this healthy brown weight, right? which will feel completely different on your body than the old white adipose tissue did. All right, so I hope this video brought a little clarity to this question and this idea that you're gaining back all of this weight that you just lost, you worked so hard to lose. You are, trust me, you're not wasting your time. You're not gaining it all back in 5 days. We just have to kind of open up our perspective and look at things from a different angle so we have a better understanding of what's happening in our bodies. Okay, if you like that video, don't forget to throw that thumb up at me. If you guys want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. Oh, by the way, make sure you're checking out that Facebook group. I don't want you guys to forget that. A wonderful place to learn and discover and ask more questions. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. As I always say, the application of knowledge is power, and I will see you guys next time.